And there we are. Very, 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 very creepy place. There is a guest house down below, and Darnell went for a jog, and he had his boy Jerry Rosenberg, arch criminal, also a fight trainer who's done time in prison himself, was living here with Melody at the time, and he was living in the guest house. Darnell came back from a run, went in the shower. There was faulty electricity, so they could say that one of the wires shocked him in the shower, some of the wiring. He staged a fall and had his guy Doc Holliday take a hammer and whack him in the back of the head as hard as he could. He saw stars, lights, everything else, and went to the hospital, got the reports, and then made the phone calls to Stevie Wonder's people. It all started right here at Melody McCulley's place.
Wow.
All right? The mother of Stevie Wonder's kid, Mumtaz. I wanted to say, the one thing you need, if you're doing what I do, that really helps, get yourself a PI license. Okay? This is how I'm able to find places like this. This is how I'm able to get into prisons to do interviews. I mean, when you go into a maximum security prison, Luke, they don't let you take so much as a pencil in to take notes. Now look, I'm not Truman Capote, all right?
Right.
Although Jerry Stahl was nice enough to compare me to him on that cover. I like that. I think he went way over the top. But I'm not Truman Capote. I don't have the so-called photographic memory. So what happened was, as I started visiting up there at Corcoran State Prison, I got my PI license, and that allows me to go in as a lawyer's representative, where you get a room and you're allowed to take your interviews. Now I think we're going to maybe turn around. Yeah, turn around is the best idea. Okay. So that was very helpful. I recommend any enterprising journalist, especially with the state of journalism as it is today, you kind of have to pull out all stops and use all kinds of resources to get the job done.
How difficult is that to attain?
If you have a PI friend who's licensed in the state of California, they can essentially godfather you in. Got it. And my godfather is, you'll see he comes up in the book quite a bit, Dan O'Hanks of Backstreet Investigations. Okay. Gathered me in, and I work under his license. But it gets me into all the necessary databases, and you know, you gotta admit it's pretty swanky to flash one of these around. All right. So let's go meet Darnell's co-conspirator, Jerry Rosenberg. As I told you, Rosenberg's quite a character. I've known him for about 20 years. He's been in and out of prison. He used to have a mohawk, a big blonde mohawk, just like this. Now he's completely bald. He's a really excellent fight trainer, and he fully admits to being a criminal, but at the same time, he ain't going back to the joint. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But Darnell's his boy, and Jerry Rosenberg was helpful in putting this book together. So let's go to Fortune Gym in Hollywood. Awesome. And I think at this point you can ask me anything you want.
Okay, great.
Rolling.
I'd like you to talk as it comes to you about your place in Los Angeles. Like, I've got my own little place in Los Angeles. I don't mean physical place.
Right.
I mean, I've got my little niche in Los Angeles. I'm the guy who used to muckrake on the porn industry. Now I mainly write about Orthodox Judaism. Like, this weird, eccentric blogger who's broken a few stories. You know, I've got my place. So I was wondering if you could just ruminate on, like, what's your place in Los Angeles? Because you play a part in this town. Well,
you know, I think, I mean, the way I made my bones in this town as a journalist was someone, you know, a journalist with balls. I mean, a guy who was willing to infiltrate. I mean, you know, the story that kind of marked my career was when I infiltrated Scientology. Yeah. You know, the way I pitched that story was, who are all these people in sailor suits running around Hollywood? I didn't know what Scientology was. So, of course, I had to join. And, of course, Spy Magazine back in the day allowed me to do that. So I believe that I guess my place is someone who's nurtured and developed participatory journalism. It's like, if I'm going to do the story, I'm going to get inside of it. I'm not going to be trolling the web, the internet. I'm not going to be phoning it in like so many daily papers do. I'm going to go out there and get the story. And in the process, I'm going to make editors of the daily newspapers scratch their heads and yell at their reporters and say, why didn't you get there first? It's because you didn't pull up your bootstraps and get out and get the story. So I guess I'm pretty old school in that I really believe that you have to have a beat. Los Angeles is my beat, Luke. You know, someone said there's 8 million stories in this naked city.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I don't know about you, but my ideals lie elsewhere. I'm an East Coast boy. I would love to be retiring on the coast of Rhode Island in the next 10 years. But for fuck's sake, I can't write my way out of this fucking town. There are just too many stories. Now, the question is, who's going to pay me? Well, you know, I think moving into nonfiction books, it was a smart move for me. Once right after 9/11, I realized that my days were numbered in print journalism, and that was the absolute truth. So, I give you 6 degrees of Paris Hilton.
I like it. What are the major ways the people see you? I'm sure there are like 3 or 4 major ways that people perceive you.
The duplicity of Hollywood. People see me as a troublemaker, a rabble-rouser, and I think those two things are putting it mildly. A lot of people straight up think I'm a fucking asshole. They think I'm a gossip. They think I'm a hack. They are right about me being a hack, because, yeah, I do write for commercial purposes. I want to get paid. But they think all these things about me, but, when I do break a big story, these are the people who are on the side congratulating me, saying, hey, Ebner, great job exposing Scientology. Great job exposing these scumbags in Hollywood. But if it looks like that their sort of admiration for me, or their friendship with me, or association with me is going to inhibit anything that they have planned in terms of furthering their own agenda in Hollywood, they don't fucking know me. Well, truth be told, I wouldn't have wanted to fucking know them to begin with. You see what I'm saying? It cuts both ways. You know, my friends, I could count on one hand. And to have 5 really good friends who I can trust and they can trust me, puts me way ahead of the game.
How do the editors you've worked with, if I was to ask them, like privately off the record, like, what's Mark Ebner like to work with?
My editors would probably say Ebner is the biggest headache I've ever had. Because truth be told, I'm a high school dropout. As a writer, you know, I couldn't tell you to this day where to put a semicolon. But at the same time, I report my stories to death. And if I'm willing to put that much effort into it, I think my writing speaks for itself, in that what I pour onto the page has the heart and soul that you would want to have in a story like the ones that I tackle. So I think a headache is a small price for an editor to pay for the content that I'm going to deliver. Sorry?
I'll let you concentrate.
I see, yep.
How much do you believe in fate when it comes to the stuff that you write on? Like, theoretically, you could be writing on anything, Silicon Valley and the British royal family. Theoretically, you could be writing on anything. Yet you seem to concentrate on kind of the underworld. Well, how much of that do you think, I just freely chose it, I could have just as easily written about something else, and how much do you think you're just fated to chronicle this?
I think there's 2 things. I mean, I think I was fated to chronicle the underworld mainly because, you know, I come with a